Oh boy, I can't wait to see seven planets tonight. And they've been hyping this for a month. And I'm out here looking and looking. It's dark. And you know what? I think I missed a couple of them, Marty. What do you think over there? Here's Marty Winkle on the board here as I'm Mark Marquette, welcoming you to Stay Star Curious today, where we're going to talk about what is just being billed as a rare seven planet parade of planets happening tonight. And I'm here to not burst your bubble, but I'm here to give you some facts that if you don't go out there before 7 o'clock, it's too late. All right, because Saturn's already set in the twilight of our beautiful late winter evening here on February 28th, 2025. So, we're going to talk about this alignment, why it's not so rare, why planetary alignments happen all the time, but it's because of the social media presence that we've had this last decade that I got five, count them, five text Martys, and one even from you because you have been staying star curious about what's happening in the sky tonight. So not only have I got my vest on, but I got my telescope is calling and I must go. All right, so I'm going to tell you all about what this hype is all about. And when we say alignment, a lot of you think about things are lined up in front of you, okay? Things line up like telephone poles or power line wires and power line, those metal things that keep the power lines up there. An alignment of flags. Us photographers, like I was for 20 some years, are always looking at to align and juxtapose, I call it, something in the foreground, something behind the subject you're shooting. So this alignment word has us all thinking like things are in front of us, Marty. And that's where you're going to be disappointed because this alignment is an alignment across the entire sky, starting where the sun sets to behind you where Mars is high in the sky up there. And these alignments are not rare, they happen all the time. In fact, last summer during the morning, when Marty likes to get up and I don't, I know he's like a 5 o'clock riser. He saw an alignment of the planets in the morning sky, just like's going on right now. But nobody harped about that or hyped about it like we are today because it's in the morning sky. And I say the bulk of Americans and around the world get up uh, after 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, even maybe, and see more sunsets than more sunrises. Think about that, Dave Stangy. Do you see more sunsets or sunrises? And there's old Jacqueline there, who's actually Chris Callie. Hello, buddy. Does he, Chris? Do you see more sunsets or sunrises in your normal thing? Dave Stangy says the sun's shining right now. That's good. Man Space is our friend Mitch Rothman, wishing everyone a great weekend. Steve Jokums, greetings to you. Julie Clay says TGIF. I'm with you, Julie. She's one of our new family members here at Stay Curious. And Tommy Usiak, again, wishing Marty and I a great weekend. So, you got any weekend plans, Marty? Except seeing the Planet Parade go by you as you're outside?
Well, I may miss the parade. I do have some work to do around the house. That's about it. Exciting.
Trees to prune, flowers to plant, probably. Get that pool ready for another season. Yep, we have some good weather finally going on here. It feels like Florida. Beautiful, clear day, nice out. Chamber of Commerce weather today, Marty, isn't it? And there's Tom Usiak and Tom Celentano. And Chris Callie says Shuttlefest, Shuttlefest, Shuttlefest. That's his wife, Jacqueline, there. Um, and yes, we're hammering down on Shuttlefest. And I'll give you a call this afternoon, Chris. I hope there is going to be no Yuri's night on the coast here, but they might as well call it Yuri's night. They got a $125 a ticket without hors d'oeuvres and $325 with at this event that's going to be Saturday night competing with Shuttlefest. So we'll see how we do and fare up on that. Dave Stangy says he's retired, so definitely sunsets. I guess that would make a big difference. And hello, Cliffy Watson. How is Saturday morning in Australia, mate? It was better last month to see the planets than it is right now. But we're going to talk about what's going on with that. Educate you about the ecliptic, which is the green screen that we put on behind here. The ecliptic is an extension of the Earth's equator up in space. That makes sense. So here's the tease that we put up for today's program. Not rare, and good luck seeing it, is my personal opinion. And here's why. Uh, we got this sent to me. Helene Milberg sent me this. Rare 7-planet parade happens this week. Hey, if you look down at your feet, that's 8 planets, okay? The only planets out of the game is Pluto, all right? But the other ones are in the game just for a little bit. Let me see Chris Callie over there. Yeah, there he is, eating some potato chips, watching. Well, looks like what we got there. It's looking for, who's that looking for? Carlton Bailey. There's Carlton. Hey, CB, there he is over there in Canaveral Groves near me. Here's what's happening, Marty. You got this legendary thing called an Orrey. Oorrey. An Orrey is the name of this. And you've got all the planets are on one side of the sun. All right. We got one side of the sun. I'll flip this baby on, and we're going to see a couple of planets moving around there, I think, as their motion catches up to them. Of course, first is Mercury, Venus, Earth is, and then you have Earth. But Earth is way over here. We're on the other side of these planets. That's why we see them in the sky. And then we have Mars and Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And Pluto's way over here where the Earth is, on the Earth side of the sun. So it's in the morning sky. All right. So this is what's going on. And as the planets are moving around, as you see, we've already got, I turned this Orrey on, and there Mercury's already on the Earth side because it goes around every 88 days. All right. So in a 360-day period, it's going to be twice a year. It's going to be in the morning sky, and twice a year it's going to be in the evening sky. And right now, it just popped up in the evening sky to everybody's delight to complete the 7th planet of this hyped up conglomeration of planets, all on the one side of the sun opposite the Earth, and also Pluto. All right, so that's what it looks like. All right, in this perspective of and this being the sun, which is yellow, but turned black on this green screen there, Marty. Now, the other element that we want to work into this rare planetary alignment that's going, there's no doubt that the planets are there, but it's not rare. This happened last summer in the morning sky. It happens about every 3 or 4 years where you get them on the evening sky because their orbits are different. Saturn takes, off the top of my head, Saturn takes 30 years to orbit the sun. Mercury takes 88 days. Neptune takes 180 years to orbit the sun. So it's always going to be in this part of the sky. And this part of the sky happens to be Pisces. It's going to be in Pisces for a few years. Venus, 200 days. So it pops up the evening sky, stays there for a while, then goes down, and the rest of the year it spends in the morning sky. Venus is right between the Earth and the sun, and the Earth and the sun. So it's becoming a crescent phase, really cool to look at, and getting the brightest it gets. It is the brightest planet. It is minus 4.8 magnitude, and I'll explain that in a second. Then you've got Uranus, takes 80 years to orbit, or 100 and, I forget, quite frankly. I think it's about 150 years for Uranus to orbit. Jupiter takes 12 years to go around the sun. So every year it's in a different house of the zodiac, of the 12 zodiacs. And Mars takes a little over 600 and some days to orbit the sun. 680 some days it is. So 2 Earth years to orbit the sun. So every 2 years, it returns to the same place in the sky. Every 12 years, Jupiter would be in the same place in the sky, but Mars wouldn't necessarily be where it's at right now. So this is the layout tonight, but how long do you have to see it? That's what we're going to talk about next. Because when they say alignment, you're thinking, oh, it's going to be right in front of you, all these planets. No, bunches of Jupiter and Mars are going to be behind you as you look at Venus, brilliant in the sky, and then around that are the other planets, Venus. But you don't have much time to look at them. The moon is shown in here. You see in a couple of these graphics I'm going to show, but the moon is 1 day old, Marty. And talking like an amateur astronomer, the moon is 1 day old. Where would that moon be in the sky? It's going to be, go ahead.
I don't know. I know it would be dark. You can't see it. But I don't know where it's going to be.
A very thin crescent right near the sun after sunset. So yes, the moon is 1 day old, 1 day past new moon, where it's close, it's above or below the sun. So then when it gets 1 day old, it's to the east or left of the sun. And it will be in the night sky tonight, but you won't see it because the crescent is so thin that nobody's ever seen a 1 day old moon with their naked eye. Now with binoculars, telescope, you might see a thin sliver. But tomorrow night, and particularly Sunday night, you'll see the crescent moon will be up by Venus. Okay. Tomorrow night, it'll be above Mercury, and a good, you might see that crescent. But Saturn, this is at 6:55 tonight. The sun sets at 6. Let me see when the sun does set here. A little after 6 o'clock. If I get my, can bring up my stuff here real quick. And of course I can't and should have beforehand. Now, there we go. Don't want the International Space Station live. I want the app that shows it to me. So Saturn's going to be first, okay, closest to the sun after sunset. And then it's going to be the moon that you're not going to see. And then Mercury. Mercury's very elusive. It's only going to be up in the evening sky for about 2 weeks. But you can see it. Sunset is at 6:22 p.m. All right, 6:22, and this is about 6:55, 32 minutes later. You're going to be very challenged to see Saturn in all of that twilight of the sun going down. And then Mercury will be visible. But Saturn sets at 7:06 p.m. It is first magnitude and brightness, but against the twilight it's going to be really hard to pick out. Mercury is -1 magnitude, all right, and that is 6.5 times brighter than Saturn, and I'll show you that scale in a minute. And it's a logarithmic scale, so Mercury is very much brighter than Saturn at the moment, and it sets at 7:32 p.m. All right, so it doesn't really get really good and dark for about an hour after sunset, and sunsets at 6:22. So, plus you got the low horizon and everything to deal with. So, yes, Marty, we got a question. While I take a.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
And after almost 1,240 shows, several times you have asked me where would the moon be in the sky. How in the world would I know, Mark? I don't think you've ever explained that. Or maybe I slept through it. I don't know. But how would I know that the moon is going to be in what location?
Okay. If I say the moon's 7 days old, I could tell you at sunset it's going to be directly south first quarter. All right. The moon phases, how many days old, starts with the new moon. And the new moon is right in front of the sun or above and below it. If it's in front of the sun, it's an eclipse. All right. So the next day after new moon, the moon is always moving to the left. The moon moves to your left always as you're looking at it, which is west in the sky. So I know if I say the moon's 3 days old, it's going to be a crescent in the evening sky because it has had 3 days to move away from the sun that just set. And so it's 3 days later, it's going to be actually about 40 degrees away from the sun, 36 degrees away from the sun, because it moves to the left of the sun 12.5 degrees every day. All right. Every day it moves 12.5 degrees. It moves its own diameter every hour. All right. So 12.5 degrees is about your fist. So 3 fists to the left of the horizon with a 3-day-old moon, it's going to be in the twilight sky. If so, 14 days is when it's full moon. Let's go back to that. By the way, oh, Marty's asked about that. No, wait, 14 days is full moon. That's 14 days after the sun sets. Okay, it has moved 14 days away from the sun, which would be 14 times 12.5 degrees, which is about 180 degrees. So full moon is going to be opposite the sun because that's why it's full. It's getting the full brunt of the sunlight. Then if I say something like 17 or 18 days, well, that's after full moon. So that's going to rise after sunset. All right. So you know that if the full moon rises at sunset, so you know a later, the 20s, when you say the moon is in the 20, 21, 22, 23, it's going to be in the sky when the sun sets. But you're going to have to wait maybe an hour after the sun sets if it's 20 days old. So 21 days old, the moon is third quarter, last quarter, okay? It rises at midnight, all right? So a 1-day-old moon rises right with sets and rises right with the sun. A 7-day-old moon rises at about in the afternoon for you to see it south as a quarter phase at sunset. Full moon rises at sunset, okay? And 21-day-old moon rises about midnight in that area. So it's intuitive once you've been doing it a long time, Marty. So yes, gradually you start to talk like an astronomer. But if I said the moon's 12 days old, you're going to think, oh, well, that's before sunset, before 14 days, it's full moon. So it's going to be in the sky when it gets dark tonight. And it's going to be gibbous phase. So good question. Does that help explain it, or did I muddy the waters?
No, it helps, but it's still something I have to think about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, and that's why people think differently. Marty's an engineer. I'm not. I would probably struggle to be an engineer, though I think I got the intelligence to maybe have tackled it. But I've probably gotten bored with it. Not in the sense that engineers are bored. There are jobs out there like accounting and engineering and stuff that are very repetitious in the day-to-day things you do, as opposed to being a journalist that I was, a professional photographer, and I woke up and I didn't know who I was going to write about or who I was going to photograph from one day to the next. That's where, as an engineer, Marty knew not exactly every day was different for Marty, I'm sure, but you knew you were working on the SLS engines and you had to solve this sort of problem today. Am I correct? In an engineering, or accomplish this engineering task today. Whereas as a AP photographer, I woke up and I didn't know where in the hell I was going to go or who I was going to see that day. I just knew that whatever I was going to do, I was going to take pictures, make sure I got their name spelled right, and get their face in the Cincinnati Enquirer. Yes, sir.
So I look at what you did as a puzzle that's changing every day. In engineering, your puzzle's a lot longer duration. So it's not boring at all.
No, yeah. I'm saying personally, to
Right,
me,
I
it would have
understand.
been boring.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know. You know, it's the brilliant minds of engineering certainly were creative as any artist was. All right, it's all, but I guess a better word is structured. You seem to have a more structured discipline of what you did day to day, where as a newspaper reporter or even a salesman that I was for many years, you kind of control your own destiny, where you want to show up and what you want to do, and depending how good you worked, that affected your paycheck, obviously. Yeah,
I would
Marty.
agree to that. Yeah.
Yeah, more of the discipline. He'll agree that he's more disciplined than me, is what he's saying, folks, between the lines. And he is, but I have my own ways. Dave Stangy's going to start paying attention when he sees the moon at night and what part of the sky it's in. So thank you. That's where you start being an amateur astronomer. We're all amateur astronomers right now tonight because everybody's interested in this alignment. When can I see it? I can't believe 5 texts I got. Chuck Jeffrey, first one. God bless you, buddy. He's our memorabilia analyst that Chuck is, and Chuck uh, is a he texted me, where can I see the alignment tonight? All right. And then after I explained to him a little bit about it, he texted me, we got killer stuff in the March auction. You know, can't wait for it to get it up this weekend. So, and I'll let you know all about that. The point is, Saturn is going to set at 7:06, Mercury at 7:32, and Neptune, that you'll never see. In fact, Neptune in this Stellarium planetarium program for your desk or your smart device, it's not dark enough to show Neptune, but it's between Venus and Mercury there. Because Neptune is magnitude 7.8, almost eighth magnitude, and it sets at 744. You won't see it, it's too faint. You need a telescope at eighth magnitude, which is 6 times fainter than a human eye can see. All right, this is sort of the human eye view of this. That's why Saturn looks so dim. The other planets you're going to see, I put Orion in the center. Most of you can find Orion. Look directly south. If you're up north, just look to Marty and me in Florida here. You'll see the 3 belt stars together, and then the bright shoulder stars and knee stars. And look at it with binoculars. And this is where a good time where we're doing some stargazing this weekend, because the moon is less than 7 days old and not as bright in the sky, and it will set before 10 o'clock at night, and we can not see nebulas and galaxies without the moonshine interfering and washing them out. So there you got Orion. Up at the upper right is Jupiter, and Aldebaran is the bright star. The V is Taurus the bull. And up in the upper left, you see Gemini the twins, with Pollux is the one star brother, and Castor is the other one. And Mars is right between, in the middle of Gemini the twins there. And where this marker is, above it, green marker, Uranus is up above there. You're not going to see Uranus. It's magnitude 5.8. All right. Now, Venus, you're going to see brilliant in the west. It is 4.8, minus 4.8 magnitude. It is so bright. And Venus sets at 8:40. All right. So let's go back to here. Saturn's setting at 7:06. Mercury follows at 7:32. Neptune at 8:44. And that's about the time Chris Callie's going to say, I think I'm going to go out and look at the planets now. It's dark enough. And you will have missed them, Chris, because they will all have set, but Venus. Venus won't set until 8:40 p.m. And then you got Uranus up there in the sky. Like I said, you need a telescope to see it. Frankly, I've only seen Neptune 5 or 6 times through a telescope in my 50-year observing. Once you see it, it's just a star. Maybe someone will have their telescope on it one night, and you just go over and look, and you can just tell it's just a kind of an aqua-colored disk. But Uranus sets at 11:54 p.m. Jupiter sets at 1:24 a.m. and Mars sets at 4:07. Now Jupiter's really bright at a negative minus 2.3, and Mars is at a minus 2.5. But Mars is fading fast as it's moving away from the Earth at a good rate. It was opposite the Earth at the beginning of January, about the beginning of the month actually. It was closest to Earth, about 45 million miles away. Now it's about 80 million miles away, and pretty soon it'll be 200 million miles away from Earth. And won't be as bright it'll be as bright as Pollux and Castor there, where it really outshines them now. So the ecliptic is the red line here. And this is where the alignment and why it happens, okay? When we talk about ecliptic, we talk about the Earth being in the center of a made-up celestial sphere. It's not a real sphere. We don't even know what shape it is. And I'll do a program next week on the new discoveries being made. But this is the Earth inside of the starry realm, okay? And we extend the Earth's, we've just put a ring around the Earth, okay? But that is to show you the ecliptic, the equator, and how the ecliptic and the Earth's tilt of 23.5 degrees creates the ecliptic in our sky. As we move around here, like Saturn's rings out of wobble, the plastic demonstrates that this is sticking to the sky that is known as the zodiac, okay, in there. Should put that, should I put my head inside of there? That would be fun, wouldn't it? So that's the concept, is everything is in perspective. Like you're driving down the highway and all of a sudden the houses and the picket fences and everything line up for a moment into one flash of one line together. And as celestial mechanics is moving, meaning the Earth speeding at 30,000 miles an hour around the sun, and the other planets in their motion, everything of our beautiful Ori here starts to spread out, and all of a sudden you don't have any alignments anymore as the faster planets move on and the slower planets just trudge on. So then it'll get all jumbled up, and then about 18 months from now, maybe sooner, there'll be another juxtaposition where everybody's all together, and I'll be getting my telescope out and showing it to you all there. So let's talk about magnitude a minute, because I may have lost you there, but this is an important concept of our backyard astronomy, because this is an arbitrary scale. It's not arbitrary, it's a scale of logarithmic math, where first magnitude is 2.5 times brighter than second magnitude, which is 6.5 times brighter, okay, than first magnitude. Third magnitude is 6.5 times brighter than first magnitude. Fourth magnitude is 16 times dimmer than first magnitude. Get it? Fifth magnitude is 40 times fainter than first magnitude star, which I said basically Mars is a first magnitude star. Fifth magnitude is 40 times fainter. You don't see any fifth magnitude stars in your backyard, all right? They're too faint. Sixth magnitude is the limit the human eye can see, and that is 100 times fainter than the first magnitude star. You're not going to see any of those. They're too faint. The globes there, circles, are representation kind of to give you a perspective of what the magnitude could be. We see in our backyard, if you're lucky, there in Macomb, Michigan, Dave Stange, to see third magnitude, all right? Maybe a couple fourth magnitude stars. And believe it or not, there's only 135 stars in the whole night sky of the northern hemisphere that are third magnitude or brighter. So when we talk backyard astronomy and looking at stars, you're looking at about 135 stars throughout the year. Can you see with your naked eye? Now, with binoculars, you get down, this depending how big your binoculars are, these would probably see down to eighth magnitude, okay, because these are some 60 millimeter openings here, all right, so that I would probably maybe get down to eighth magnitude. Animals with big eyes, like owls, can see more stars in the sky than we can. An owl can see down to about eighth magnitude, which would be on this scale here, way, you see a lot of stars in the sky. So at sixth magnitude, where am I at here? Let me go there. There's my image. Let's go back. At sixth magnitude, there are about 3,000 stars you can see in our hemisphere, okay, and about another 3,000 in the southern hemisphere, or 6th magnitude or brighter. All right, but so this is where we astronomers put even increments of magnitude on things because it's very exact. And there are stars that change magnitude. That's well known. They're called variable stars. A whole other subject there. So the sun is about minus 27 magnitude. Full moon is about minus 4, about minus 12. All right. The crescent moon you're going to see next couple nights is maybe minus 4 or 5. All right. And then the quarter moon is like minus 10, and then the full moon is minus 10. Venus at its brightest is right now going on. It is almost minus fifth magnitude, 4.8. Incredibly bright. If I could get on White Top Mountain up in Damascus, Virginia, north of Damascus, Virginia, if I get on White Top Mountain up there, Marty, I could stick a pole in the ground or maybe get over by a telephone pole with a white sheet, and Venus would cast a shadow off of that pole onto the sheet. It is so bright. Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, is a negative 1.5, something like that. Polaris, the North Star, is only 3rd magnitude. Okay, you can see it from your backyard. It's one of the 135 stars. It's 2nd magnitude. I take that back. It's more like 2nd magnitude. But still, everyone thinks Polaris, the North Star, is the brightest star in the sky. It's not. It's just one of a handful of 2nd magnitude stars. And there's your naked eye limit at minus 6. I mean, plus 6. And the Hubble telescope can see almost 30th magnitude, and the Webb telescope has extended that to close to 40 magnitude. All right. So now you know about the magnitude of magnitude. Again, this planetary alignment is as the backdrop is Pisces there. So if the sun is on the other side, the Earth is on the other side of the sun from Pisces, where all this is going on. Yeah, I think I got a picture to show that here. There you go. Look down at January, and then you're going as the sun is moving to the left on the inner circle where the chopped up lines are. You go to this point here, we're about right here. And if you look opposite the sun, we're looking into Pisces. Okay. The fish is there. So all this planetary alignment in astrology, which is the comic books of astronomy, would have a lot of portent and meaning 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, when the Magi, Persian astronomers of Mesopotamia, would be seeing this grouping in the evening sky. They would think that something of import is supposed to be happening there. Again, thanks for everybody sending me charts like this that Helene Hilbert did. Saturn, Mercury, Neptune, Venus are all in a cluster tonight, but the Venus or Saturn and Mercury will be gone by 7:30, and they're really close to the sun. Don't look at ever sun with binoculars, but it'd be better to have binoculars after the sun sets to start looking for them. And there again is taken off. Stellarium, think aquarium. It's a very sophisticated yet easy to use star program up there. Some people, Dave says, thanks for the magnitude clarification. That's again how we astronomers talk is, Venus is, minus 4 magnitude. You know that it is super duper bright. Whereas something that's plus 5 magnitude, you're going to have to drive out somewhere dark away from light pollution to see it. So hope you've all enjoyed this. Marty, I'm looking. Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Again, look at Orion. Mars is the red star to the left. Jupiter kind of goldish to the right of it. Uranus is up there, not to be seen with your naked eye. It's too faint. It's right at the threshold of naked eye. So the ancients may have seen it, but it was so faint they didn't notice it was moving with the other 4 planets. So That's the 7 planets that are very overhyped today to go see. But glad that you're all staying curious with it today, and glad that I could explain it to you. And go out there and enjoy the moon dance over the weekend. Get you a little moonshine there. Maybe lay out underneath the stars in your favorite lawn chair, maybe with a blanket or in a sleeping bag as it's starting to get warm out. And maybe you'll see a meteor or two streak by. If you do, wish upon that fallen star and hold on to that wish. Yes, Marty.
Can I make a comment about the Shuttle Fest?
Sure.
Okay. If anybody out there is going to donate something for our silent auction, if you could send me a picture of it, we'd like to start posting that so people will be aware of what to expect at Shuttle Fest. And you can send it to Mark at the museum. Thank you.
That's right. With a $20 bill taped to it, so I give that to Marty. No, Marty's going to do our silent auction and so forth. And Chris Callie heard that loud and clear. And we'll be putting Shuttle Fest up on Space Hipsters today. Their promotion day on there. And I was thinking of something else to mention along the lines of Shuttle Fest. We're going to sell it out. We're going to have a good time. And hopefully you can come and attend to it, like about half of you watching today, I know probably will be there. So thank you for letting me share about backyard astronomy. It's an important part of our museum STEAM program. We're going to have a bilingual STEAM education program in here Saturday with our volunteer educator, Natalia Sepulveda, was helping her set up today as we're going to talk about women in space. And it's March next month, so you know we're going to be talking March tomorrow. So we'll be talking about women in space. And throughout the month like we normally do. I'll also tip off you regulars. We will have a special guest Monday as we're going to have Winston Scott, astronaut, in the building. He's going to be talking to a group of Japanese high school students. That is a program that comes here several times a year. And Winston's going to sit down with our executive director, Gabriel Rothblatt, and they're both African American, and they're going to talk about minorities in the space programs, private and the government. So I know you'll want to have a question or two for Winston Scott, one of my favorite astronauts, one of the first ones I really got to know around here. And Winston will be sitting in this chair with our executive director, Gabriel Rothblatt, on Monday. And Tuesday, we're going to have who'd I say come Tuesday? One of our regulars. Oh,
You didn't mention it.
kick me in the head there. Yeah. Oh, Bert Dick is going to be here Tuesday, of the National Space Society. We're going to have Bert do what's up with Bert type of thing, what he's been into the last month. So thank you all so much. The numbers have really been going up thanks to new people of our Stay Curious family, like Julie Clay and Mark Thell, and the regulars like Gary Gerald and Carlton Bailey and Cliff Watson and Tommy Usiak, and of course Steve Jokums and Tom Celentano. We love you for what you're doing for us, Mitch Rothman, and hope that as we branch out later into bigger and better things here on Stay Curious, we hope. You guys are the foundation that brought us here, and we really appreciate it. So get out under this planetary alignment and dazzle your eyes with some stars. And you won't regret getting out under the stars no matter what you're doing, getting away from that TV and the social media and just bathing in the cosmos. It is there for you to enjoy. And folks, no one owns the original. Make a poem, take a picture, draw a picture, make a sketch of what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're feeling, because the cosmos belongs to you and humanity. So until next time, I'm Mark Marquette saying thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you again to bridge the space between us. Let me get out there and start looking.